if you have space. Okay.
No. You take that. You're the one that really needs it more than I do.
Oh, do you guys not have enough mats? We don't have to do that.
Nope. We're good. I'm
Okay.
fine. I'm just going to take this blankety thing. The floors are not, I don't need a pillow.
Jones, Hale, and Hardy.
Yeah, she is. What? Oh, Hale and Hardy. Yes, I am. Okay, we're on our back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm going to try and get to where you can see me, too.
All right, we're yoga attire. It's back at the house.
Okay. So, I'm also recording this, so if I sound like I'm talking to more than you two, that's why. So just like any other time, we'll start just by giving some attention to our breathing. So for those of you joining us at home, we are starting on the back. So a few things about lying on the back. If it feels like this is a little too intense for your spine for some reason, you can bend your knees, and you might also put a little pillow under your head. You can spread your feet wider, you can spread your arms wider, you can keep it all kind of close like you're in a canoe. It kind of just depends on what your body's asking for. And feel free to adjust anything that we do today for comfort and for safety. So listen to your body, you know you best. So just trust whatever's coming up from your inner sense of knowing. But we'll start on our back with some breathing, just starting to shift the attention. You might even imagine sort of wherever you've been today, whatever you've been doing, just kind of drawing your attention back from that, kind of like winding up a ball of yarn or something, bringing it back into your center. And as you shift your focus into your own center, notice just the movement of your breath as it already is. Notice your inhales. Notice your exhales. And you might notice that just from paying better attention to your breathing, you might start to notice that your breathing starts to shift a little bit. Maybe you can give it a little nudge in that direction, starting to consciously tend to and open up to bigger, fuller inhales. And then see if you can consciously start to slow down and relax your exhales. As you exhale, you might think of your belly kind of pulling in lightly so that you actually kind of help the air move out of your body. But it doesn't have to be super intense or anything like that. Just casually starting to notice our breath, starting to practice breathing. And in the service of that practice, remember that through the next hour as we breathe and move together, you can let your breath get kind of big and loud at any time. So if you feel like you want to sigh it out like a ha or a hmm. You could also give a little lip flutter like a, or sometimes it's helpful to do an sh like a sh, or really any noise that feels like it's going to help you slow the breath or express something that's coming up. So before we start moving, let's do one breath like that together. So starting with the out breath, just gently exhale all the air out of your lungs. Get as empty as you can. And then from that empty place, take a deep, full inhale in. Really fill the space you've made. Exhale, open the mouth. Ha. Nice. Now we'll start to move a little bit. So still lying on the back. Give your toes and your legs a little wiggle. Just kind of notice where they are, how they're feeling. And then we'll move into a reclined wind removing. So start with your right knee. And just give a gentle bend to your right knee until you can get a grip somewhere on the right leg. So maybe grabbing with the fingers at the shin. If you can't quite get to the shin, then you might just grab under your thigh, which is also fine. And once you have a good grip of that right leg, just gently start to tug the right knee out slightly and then back towards your armpit. But it doesn't have to be too intense. Remember, we're just starting. We're still kind of warming things up and waking up these joints. So once you get that knee back to where it feels like, okay, this is a good edge for me to work at today, just start to give it some breath and notice how it feels. Notice the inhales and exhales. And then take one good breath there to really feel into this stretch. And then we'll start to move things around a little bit from that hip. So imagine that you're just drawing really gradual circles now with that knee. As if your knee were like a crayon and you were drawing it on the ceiling. So starting in one direction, just gently start to rotate the knee, the hip, the whole leg, but moving from that hip joint. And you can go as slow or as fast as feels right for your body today. And then once it feels right, switch directions and start to move in the opposite way with that same idea of the circle, though it might not be a perfect circle, and that's totally fine. You might find that as you move, you feel little points of tightness or resistance. That's super normal. Just try to be gentle with yourself. If you feel a place where it's like, that's not happening today, just gently back away. No worries. And then when you feel ready, come back into the center. And if you can, relax the arms by the sides, but keep that right knee up. We'll do a little bit of a routine to open up the back from the hip. So with your inhale, see how far you can now kick your leg up into the air. It may not go very far, and that's totally fine. Just looking for a gentle stretch there. And then slowly release it back by bending the knee. And now this time, inhale as you kick the leg all the way forward in front of you and hover it off the mat, maybe an inch or so. And then exhale, relax your right leg completely. We'll go through that a few more times to open up that joint. So inhale, gently bend your right knee and pull it towards you. Exhale, gently kick it up as far as it can comfortably go without straining. Inhale, gently pull it back in towards a bend. Exhale, pull it forward and gently relax. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, pulling the right knee in. Exhale, slowly kick it forward. Inhale, gently pull it back. Exhale all the way in front and release it. And if it feels good now released, you might just give a little wiggle to your hip. Roll that joint out. And then we'll switch sides and move on to the left side. So gradually pulling that left knee in towards your chest. Find the fingers here. Now for those that cannot get the grip for whatever reason, you might use a strap or a towel and just put it in front of your shin and hold on to the strap. You could even use like an old sock if it's a long enough sock. Again, you can also just grab under your thigh if that's more comfortable for you. So see if you can do what you can to make all the movements accessible for your body. And once you find a grip here, just finding that comfortable stretch, nothing too forceful. Feeding the stretch with your breathing, deep full inhales. You can really relax the belly as you breathe in. Slow, steady exhales. Try to get as empty as you can. Take one more good breath here. Just feel into the depth of your stretch. And then slowly start to add some movement, picking a direction and starting to move circularly or however it shapes up in one direction with that knee hip. And just kind of consider this part that we're still gathering information, just trying to sense into where our hips are at today, how they feel, what might be stored there right now. What's ready to move. As we move circularly, you can kind of combine the breath, just slowing and gradually kind of tending to those exhales. And then when it feels like the right time, you can switch directions and move in the opposite direction. Bringing some motion into that hip. And then when you're ready, come back in towards your center place. And we'll do that little routine again from the knee bent position. So relaxing the arms by the sides if you're able. If not, you can always use them to help this one out. So that's also an option. So inhale as you draw your knee back. Exhale, slowly extend that leg up towards the sky, if it can go that far. Inhale, gently pull the knee back to a bend. Exhale, gently kick it forward towards your other foot, and then relax that left leg down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, gently draw the knee back. Exhale, slowly kick it out. Inhale, draw the knee back in. And exhale, gently pull it forward. And one more time, inhale, bending from the knee. Exhale, get the leg as straight as it can go. Inhale, let it bend. Exhale, let it go forward. And then let it relax. And then you might swivel that left hip a little once it's back on the ground. And then you might swivel both hips back and forth. Just get a little motion into the pelvis there. And then from here, reach the arms all the way up above you, not so much towards the ceiling, but back towards your head and beyond. And just give your whole body a stretch, pointing the toes forward as you reach the fingers in the opposite direction. Take some really good big breaths here, stretching the whole body, asking the blood to circulate in this way. Good. And then slowly return the arms back to your sides, and we'll transition as carefully as we need to over to all fours. So you might roll to one side and push yourself gently up. And then see if you can come to a place where you are resting on hands and knees. So kind of like you were making a table with your back. So some things that some of us have sensitive knees. So if you need to, you can roll up a towel or fold your mat over and put the mat under your knees, or you could even put a pillow under your knees if that's helpful for you. So just kind of working in a way that feels right for you. If you've got wrist issues, you can try and keep the weight off of your hands, or you can come onto your fists instead of your hands, your palms. So kind of putting the knuckles down. That might help your wrist stay neutral. So whatever works for you. Now once we're in that tabletop position, we'll start to give some motion to the spine. So with an inhale, gently drop your belly and trace your eyeballs to look up, asking the chin to arch, the spine to arch. We call this cow. With an exhale, slowly round back in on yourself. Tuck your chin in lightly. Look up towards your belly button. Tuck your tailbone under. Inhale, moving back into that gentle flexion, dropping the belly, looking up. Exhale, slowly curl back in on yourself. Just moving to the degree that your spine allows you to, really comfortably. And then just keep moving through those on the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, a little slight back bend. Exhale, a slight rounding. Notice if the pelvis can also match the movements. Inhale, pelvic calves go forward. Exhaling as slowly as you need to take it. Tuck your pelvis under, let it tilt back. And just keep doing that. Imagine that you're kind of just asking your spine to become a wave. It's already naturally curvy. We're just kind of accentuating and moving against those curves to bring motion and blood flow back to the whole spine. One more good breath into a cow. One more slow exhale into a cat. And then start to just give it kind of a wiggle and a wobble on your own. So swivel the hips out. Maybe shrug your shoulders out. You can shake your head out. You can kind of think of like an elephant at the water hole, kind of draping your trunk through the water, just kind of playing with it. So remember, there's no right or wrong, just kind of letting your body know, kind of groove it out. And just try to connect your breathing to it so that the breathing and the motion kind of work in tandem. Okay, now finding your way back in towards the center, we'll transition to either standing or sitting, whatever's the most comfortable for you. So however you get there is fine for you. It just kind of depends on where you're at. As you come up to standing, you might tuck the chin in and slowly roll up if that feels like a safe way for you to come up and stand. I'll sit just for the purposes of y'all being able to see me. Okay. So from here, see if you can give yourself space so that you can open your arms out to the maximum width. Yeah, exactly. Stagger. And then give yourself a nice big circle and reach the arms up towards the sky. Now, as the arms come up, you can let them stay at shoulder width, and then you might turn the pinkies towards one another so it would look like this to relax the shoulders. And you can just gaze forward, and you can even close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And notice now your foundation, what's going on in your feet. Plug those heels in gradually, gently. Soften your toes and spread them out so your feet get really broad across the mat. Remember, you can spread the arms even a little wider if that feels more comfortable for you. Only for those that have very open shoulders would I recommend to touch the palms together. That's kind of a more advanced expression. So, doing what you need to do there. Good. Notice your breathing. Notice if it's become a little more strenuous to keep the arms up in this way. No worries. We'll start to move it around. So with an inhale, gently reach up as tall as you can go and maybe slightly back, tracing the eyes and the fingers back. With your exhale, slowly fold forward. We'll move into our first forward bend. Bending the knees as much as you need to spill forward from the waistband. Err on the side of caution if this is the first forward fold you've done today. Just kind of see where you're at. And when you get down into a forward bend, you might bend your knees once or twice each side. You might swivel the hips a little bit. You might shake your head out, yes, no, yes, kind of like we did with the elephant at the water hole. Just kind of soften into it. Your feet can be about hips width apart, or they can go wider if that's more comfortable, or more narrow if you're looking for a little challenge. And then we'll add our half lift. So with an inhale, walk the hands up to the shins or the thighs. Avoid putting too much pressure on the knees. Draw the chest, the head forward, and look slightly down towards like the front of maybe where your mat would be to keep your neck long. Exhale, gently fold forward, bending the knees to return. And you'll notice from the video that I don't go forward necessarily as much as I kind of incline up. It just kind of depends on where your low back is today. So for another one, inhale, reach gently forward, shoulders relax, top of the head reaching away from tailbone. Exhale, gently forward bend, relax the head completely if you can. One more time, inhale, gently reach forward, shoulders soft, belly strong. Exhale, folding forward. And then we'll connect those movements here. So this time, inhale, sweep the arms forward and up. Gently come up to your mountain posture. Exhale, soften into it and just stabilize. Feel for where your feet are. Inhale, gentle back bend, reach the arms, the head up. You might just think up, maybe slightly back. Exhale as you fold forward. Sometimes my hands will naturally come towards prayer to help me come down. You don't have to do that. And then we'll reset with a half lift. Inhale, reaching the chest forward. Exhale, forward bend, release. Nice, let's do it again. Inhale, gently go forward and up. Remember, you can take other entrances and transitions if they're better for your body. Exhale, stabilize. Imagine rooting, grounding deeply into the earth. Inhale, gentle gaze up and back. Exhale, forward bend, slowing it to whatever pace works for you. Let's do one more of those. Inhale, take a half lift to reset. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, gentle arch. Think of the front side body opening up. Exhale, stabilize, root, ground, maybe reaching all the way down to the center of the earth. Inhale, rise up, reach up, go up. Exhale, gently forward. Inhale, take your half lift. Exhale, forward fold gently. Now this stretch might be a little tricky, so just move at a way that feels right for you. So still kind of forward bending, reach your left hand and see if you can touch onto your right thigh, right shin or calf. So somewhere sort of between the knee and the ankle. Once you get that grip, gently start to turn open to the right and reach the right arm up towards the sky. Doesn't matter which side you go, just make sure that you're moving to, range of motion that feels okay for you. We won't do this too long. Take a deep, full inhale. Think shoulder reaching away from shoulder. Exhale, slowly relax that down. Nice work. Switch sides, reaching the hand towards that left shin or calf. The left arm reaching up towards the sky. Fingers can spread or you can keep them together. Deep, full inhale for that opening across the chest. Exhale, fold it forward, let it release. And let's do a few more of those, a little more fluidly. So with an inhale, let your left arm drop. You can also just let the left arm hang in space, if that feels okay for you. Right arm up. Exhale, gently relax and switch sides. And you can just move at a pace that works for you. For those at home, you might use a block between your feet to rest your hand on. You might also use your arm kind of propped against the opposite knee. And remember, you may have to bend the opposite knee as you turn up to the right. So the left knee might need to bend and vice versa. It's kind of like you're swimming through the air. Connecting to your breathing as you do so. Let's take one more cycle of those. Inhale, nice big, kind of like a yawn, like just stretching open the mouth. Exhale, relax the right side. Last side, just finish which one you haven't done last. And exhale. Back in your forward fold, you might take another half lift. Inhale, reaching the chest forward. Exhale, let it relax. And then to come up, tuck your chin, bend your knees, and slowly inch your way back up to standing. And remember, you're always welcome to sit, even if we're standing, so just moving at a pace that works for you. I'm going to sit again. So back in our standing tall posture, this time inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, and exhale, relax them down, let them come back. Inhale, this time shrug the shoulders up, squeeze your face and your fists, create a little extra tension, and then exhale, relax all of that. Last time, inhale, shrug shoulders, squeeze face, fist, squeeze your butt if that feels right, really pulling all that energy up. Exhale, let it all go. You might just give yourself a little wiggle, swivel from side to side, shake your hips out, maybe shake your hands out, fingers out. Just bringing some natural motion into it. And then we'll just play with the neck a little bit, be real gentle with this. Reaching the left hand up to touch your left shoulder, though it might be that I'm mirroring you, so right hand, you might want to start with that. And reach the opposite arm across your head and touch for the ear or the chin here. And just gently start to spread that space out between the ear and the shoulder. Really, really carefully. Nothing too intense. Take a good cycle of breath there to really let the body relax into this. And then exhale, relax out of it, release the hands. And we'll switch sides, put the opposite hand, just a little weight on the shoulder. It's not necessarily pulling super hard. Grabbing for the opposite ear. Finding some breath there. And then gently relax out of that. And then gently bring your chin to tuck in towards the chest. And keep the rest of your spine tall. And just take a few breaths here with this nice compression forward from the neck. I gotta shut my door real quick because the neighbors are being kind of noisy. Take a breath and see if you can guide it into the back of your neck. And then as you exhale, do the opposite. Slowly relax the head back to neutral and gently relax the head back. Now as the head relaxes back, try not to let the rest of the spine come back. So we're just doing the head and neck. Try to breathe through the nose, relax your jaw. Remember, only going as far as feels safe and comfortable. Take a deep, full inhale wherever it is. And then exhale, slowly come back into the center. And then we'll just do some gentle neck rolls. So starting with whatever direction feels right, you can start to move in a slow circle. And try to relax as much as you can into the movements, using your breath to kind of smooth things out. And if you find that you encounter an edge, a place that feels like it's tight or there's resistance, try not to force it, just kind of move around it if you can. Though if it feels good, you can also stop at a certain angle and explore it if you like to do that as well. And then when you feel ready, slowly move in the opposite direction.
Here's my granddog.
Yeah,
Hi, Bill.
Rio's came to do some yoga.
Here's my Rio. He's going to help us.
And then when you feel like you've done enough, you're evened out, come back into the center. You might just give a little shake to the head. And then we'll play with a little, just a really soft twist. So standing as tall as you can, just try to isolate into the neck, keep the chin level, and just turn in one direction. And find where your sort of range of motion is in that direction. Without forcing or tensing, just find that sort of edge that's still comfortable. And take one good cycle of breath at that edge. And then as you exhale, slowly come back in towards the center. And look over to the opposite side. You might have to think of the back of the head going up, the chin slightly tucking so that you keep your head and neck on straight. Try not to look up or down too much. Notice if one side is a little less mobile than the other. Take a deep, full inhale at this side. And then as you exhale, slowly come back towards the center. And then we'll play with a little more arm and shoulder movement. So starting with your right hand, you can relax the arms by the sides. Let's see if I have enough room to do this. Make sure you have enough room behind you to kind of get a full extension, if you can. You might have to like sit sideways on your chair maybe. And then we'll use our eyes to follow the fingers. So starting with the right hand, start to reach forward and up in this kind of slow, wide oval. And as the right hand comes up, if the neck allows, you can follow it with your gaze. And then slowly kind of come back as far as your shoulder allows you to. And then once you come back down to the place where you started, you can switch sides and reach your left arm long and forward. So on the one hand, we're sort of like holding the focus at the fingers and testing our balance as we move and look in these directions. And on the other hand, we're just kind of looking for where our range of motion is with our shoulders. So switching sides. It's kind of like a certain swimming stroke, but it doesn't have to be super muscular. You can kind of keep it real fluid, soft. And the wrist and the hand and the elbow might have to turn as you find certain paths of resistance. So just kind of let your fingers naturally go where they need to go. And try to connect your breathing to it so that it really has the support of all of that good fresh air coming in. Nice slow exhale. We'll do one more time around. Nice, and then we'll stretch out the shoulders in a couple other ways. So just bringing your right arm across your body. See if you can catch with your left hand sort of the right bicep. And just gently pull it back to the degree that it allows until you feel like a stretch. Now for some of us, we might want the right arm straight. For some of us, we might want to bend it and pull it back. You can even kind of grab onto your back there. Once you feel like, okay, there's something happening there across that whole area of the arm into the shoulder, maybe even coming into the back, just hold that steady without forcing and just take some good breath there. Take a deep, full inhale, feel into that side. And then exhale, slowly bring it back to neutral and let it relax. You might shake it out if that feels good. And then switch sides, bring the opposite arm across the body. We tend to have really different range of motion on other sides, so really just be kind and generous with yourself. We're not trying to force anything. Symmetry doesn't tend to exist usually in terms of physical body, so just kind of let it be as it is. Take a deep, full inhale where you feel it. Exhale slowly, let it relax. Good job. Now this one might be a little more tricky conceptually. So we'll start with the hands up in the sky. So reaching the arms up. If you can touch your palms together, but that's okay if you can't. Now notice which side is your right, and swing your right elbow underneath your left. So crossing sort of, I kind of do this little like clock motion. So once our two elbows cross, draw the fingers together and see if you can bring your wrists around so that the wrists can face one another. So that's two crosses. Now that might not happen today, and so that's super fine. So if you can't quite get that double cross, then instead let the backs of your hands touch here. Remember, we're not forcing it. Now if this alone is not happening for you, you might also just crossing the elbows give yourself a great big hug. So that's for folks that tend to have really tight shoulders. But once you find a grip, you can just kind of try to stand as tall as you can. Gather your focus and take a few good cycles of breath. Notice where you feel that stretch. If you're like, I don't quite feel anything, I'm looking for something deeper, then you can try to push the arms closer together. You can do that whether you have the backs of the hands touching or whether you have the palms in the grip. So kind of pushing the arms together horizontally to create space across the shoulders. But be gentle here. We're not trying to force it. Nobody to impress. Take a deep, full inhale into the backs of your lungs. Exhale, slowly unravel those arms. And then sweep them out and up again. Look for that big, wide stretch. And switch sides. So now my left elbow is coming underneath my right elbow. Once I cross at the elbows, again, I can try to cross across the wrists. So from a side, it kind of looks like this, fingers together, just hooking that thumb around. But again, if that's not available to you, then you can touch the shoulders together. You can also, touch the backs of the hands together, or you can grab your shoulders. So these are all good options. These are the arms for eagle pose. So relaxing the shoulders as best you can. You can hold a point of focus in front of you with your eyes, or you can close the eyes. Take a deep, full inhale into the back, the sides. Exhale, slowly let it relax. Now one more big breath, deep, full inhale, gathering energy through the air. This time exhale, just slowly bring your hands back down to heart center. And we'll move into some side bends. So again, you can sit or you can stand, whatever feels right for you. So relax one arm at the side and reach your opposite arm up. Palm facing in towards sort of the center line. So my palm looks like this, but it's just up there. Then inhale, reaching as tall as you can go without too much of a lean. Just try to create as much upward stretch in that direction. Keeping your chin level. Eyes can go forward so that we're not back bending too much. Take a deep, full inhale. Really feel into this whole side. Remember, your lungs reach into this place. Exhale, slowly come back towards the center. Relax that arm down at the side. Reach the opposite arm on top. And this might feel very different on this side. That's very okay. If you like mudras, which are hand gestures that are said to guide energy, you can touch your thumb and forefinger and let the other fingers kind of point it. It kind of looks like the OK sign. That is said to bring your finite self to connect with infinity. So reaching up, you can do that mudra, jnana mudra, whenever you want, really, in practice. It's kind of very broadly applicable. Deep, full inhale, really open up the left side ribs. And as you exhale, come back towards the center. And then we'll start to do that kind of as a wave. So deep, gentle, slow breath in on one side. If your neck allows, you can look up, but you don't have to. And then as you exhale, slowly coming back into the middle. The opposite arm coming up at the same time. Try to time it so that your inhale peaks when your fingers reach their highest height. And then as you're ready to exhale, slowly switching into that liminal space between them. And you're welcome to kind of make it a dance and move as slow or as fast as you need to, moving at your pace. And if you start to sway from the hips, that's totally cool. Let's do one more on each side. Deep, full inhale at the top. And then coming back towards your center place, relax the arms. Maybe give it another swivel, another wiggle. And before we transition back to the floor, let's do one more intentional back bend. So I'm going to kneel here. So you're welcome to do this one on the knees, but for some of us, we might just want to do it standing up. So actually, I'll stand up so you can see that. So bringing the hands to your low back, see if the fingers can point down. Now some of us, depending on how flexible we are, we might have to have our hands right here. That's totally cool. But as far as you can get them back, that's where we're going eventually. Notice that the low back is already kind of arched, so we don't really need to sink into that too much. So apply some good pressure with your feet, really ground into the earth. Gently tug those elbows back with relaxed shoulders, and just start to relax the weight of your head back. Seal the lips here and open the throat. And you might start to pull the belly in so that we lift a little more behind the chest. Doesn't have to go very deep to feel like a lot, so we'll just be here for another couple of seconds. Take deep, full inhale. Really shine your heart center up to the sky. And as you exhale, slowly come back in towards the center. And we'll come back down into one more forward bend. So bending the knees if you need, slowly fold forward from the waist. From here, let's just open the shoulders in one more way. So gathering the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers if you can. You might also grab a sock or a towel and slowly scoop the fingers forward, looking for straight arms first, relaxing the weight of the head. Don't do like I'm doing, turning up to look at the camera. Find an edge where it feels like something's happening, but not too much. Take a deep, full inhale into that space. And exhale, slowly relax it down, let it go. Inhale for your final half lift. Exhale, fold it forward. Now let's transition back onto all fours. So where we were, sometimes that's called tabletop, where we were earlier. Now I realize we've been working on spinal mobility and shoulder opening and core strengthening. We haven't done a lot of leg action yet. So this will be a core strengthener and a hip opener. Most important, just move it at a pace that works for you. Don't hurt yourself. We're not trying to impress nobody. So give yourself first really good grounding through your left shin, your two hands, and then pick up your right foot and kick it back behind you. As you kick it back behind you, you might have to rest the toes on the mat. That's totally fine, right? Moving to our own edge. But if you can, see if you can bend the knee and point the toes. I got to get to where you can see that. Point the toes up towards the sky. Now from here, we'll just do some gentle lifting. So with an inhale, point the toes up and kick that foot up. With an exhale, slowly bring it back down to almost being on the ground. If you need to rest it down between, that's also totally fine. Inhale, point the toes up. Exhale, slowly bring it back down. Inhale, point the toes up. Exhale, slowly bring it back down. Let's do two more. Inhale, looking for that kick. Exhale, slowly relax. Last one. Inhale, kick it up. And then to transition, kick it all the way back straight, give it a little shake, and then relax that right knee down completely. You might swivel your hips out in between. You might do some of those cat-cows in between, like we were doing earlier. This is a modified, sort of truncated version of like a standing bow kick. I found this on a blog that was like how to make your butt look bigger, so that should tell you.
I don't need that.
Yeah, that tells you more about me than you need to know. So shifting all the weight back into those strong arms, into that right shin. Point your left toes up towards the sky. But this is a posture like we do this in Bikram, and this can really help my Bikram regulars. I give this to this one, give this to them to help them stabilize their standing bow. Inhale, point those toes up. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, point the toes up. Try to work from the belly, from the glutes. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, point the toes up. Exhale, bring it back down. 2 more. Inhale, give it a kick. Exhale, bring it back down. Last one. Inhale, point those toes up. Exhale, bring it all the way back behind. Give it a little shake. And then exhale, let it relax. Swivel those hips out. You might do some C curves, kind of looking over your right shoulder, then looking over the left shoulder. And let's just take a few more cat-cows for good measure. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round the spine, look down the back. Inhale, deep flexion, creating movement. Exhale, deep rounding. Inhale one more time. Exhale, round it in. And then let's transition now to going back onto the back. So again, once we're on our back, lying flat on the mat, for some of us, flat is not going to be comfortable. So you might need to put a pillow under your head. You might put a pillow under your knees. You might do both. You might put a pillow under your low back. It kind of just really depends on what is your need for comfort here. And you might also bend your knees. So all those are options. Feel free to really make use of whatever modifications you need to. I'm going to move my camera around a little bit so you can see me. Okay, so once back on the back, let's all bend our knees together and see if we can get a grip of pulling ourselves into this nice hug. Now for some of us, it's going to look like a cannonball situation. So we're grabbing on the outsides of our shins with our hands. But for some of us, that's not going to be available. And so you might grab that sock or that strap and give yourself a hug with that. You might also just grab right here. Or like before, you could grab under your thighs. So these are all options. Once you do have your grip, we're just looking to pull the knees back to a degree that feels safe and sustainable for the back. And as best you can, try to relax the head, neck, and tailbone. So that means if your head is up in the air when you're giving yourself this hug, then you either need to drop it down, and if you can't drop it down, then you probably want to put a little pillow under your head so that your neck doesn't get strained. And then just see if you can relax as fully into this one as you can. Really let the hips start to open up with this steady but gentle pressure. Take some really good belly breaths, opening up the abdominals. And let's take a vocal breath here together. Exhale, empty, empty, empty. Get all of your air out. Take a deep, full inhale. Fill your stomach, your chest. Exhale, HM. Good. And then gently let that one relax. The legs now. Now keep the knees bent and just put your feet flat in front of you on the mat. So it's going to be a little different for everyone, but the traditional definition, you want to kind of have your heels right where your fingers are. So if your arms are by your sides, you could kind of tickle your feet there. Now, if they have to go farther forward than that, that's also totally fine. And we'll just do a really gentle bridge posture, so nothing too forceful. We'll do a few of these kind of to open up the back one more time. So kicking into the feet, gently start to raise your hips, your belly up off the mat. Think knees forward and slowly lift through the pelvis. Take an inhale at the height that feels comfortable today, and then slowly relax it back down. Second time, inhale, put the hands down, the feet down. Slowly come up. You might even come so far up that you're just resting on the shoulders. Chin can lightly tuck. You can look at your belly. Exhale, slowly let that relax. And again, keeping it gentle one more time. Inhale, put the feet down. Gently pull your hips up. Imagine sort of someone's got a lasso around your waist and they're just gently helping you come up. Exhale, slowly let it relax. Good. And then we'll take a twist. We did this last week. Relax your right leg completely. Pull your left knee in towards your chest again, like how we began at the beginning of class. And then slowly glide that left knee across the body towards the right side of your room. As you do so, you might reach your left arm across towards the left so that the arm and the knee are moving in opposite directions. You might end up so that your hips, your kind of bikini bones, are pointing to the right side. But see if you can keep your left shoulder nice and grounded on the mat or on the floor. And maybe a dog comes up and licks your face. That's all good too, wherever you are. Take a deep, full inhale to seal off that twist. Exhale, slowly bring it back to the center. And then switch sides. Relax your left leg long. Pull the right knee in. Gently start to guide it over towards the left side, reaching the right arm towards the right. Remember, this doesn't have to be like a full chiropractic adjustment situation. It's kind of meant to be a little more soft than that. Leave that to the chiropractor. Just kind of finding yourself in a position that feels like a comfortable stretch. Take a deep, full inhale. Let gravity just kind of drape across your body. And then exhale, slowly come back in towards the center. And then to finish things out, if you can, bend your knees and see if you can get the soles of your feet to touch so that the knees gently lay open. So this one is popularly called butterfly. Or supine bound angle. So for those of us that are pretty tight in the groin and hips, you might need to move your feet forward so it's a really soft kind of butterfly. Another name for this one has been goddess. It's often called that. You also might find that you need to put pillows under your knees to give yourself maximum support. That's super fine. Now for those of us that are pretty open there, you might hike the heels kind of in and bring them close to your butt, and that might be a little more of a stretch for you. This will be our final posture, our final resting place. So if you're like, I'm not so into this one, you can always just kick your legs long and go into a shavasana, just laying flat. If you need something different, you're also welcome for that. And if you feel like you need a little arm opening, you can reach your arms above your head again, like we did at the beginning. You can put your hands under your head and open the elbows, like you're kind of relaxing on the beach. Or if you feel like you need a little containment, maybe you put a hand at the heart, a hand at the belly, or somewhere else. Whatever feels like it's going to be the best relaxation for you. So we'll be here for a minute together. So see if you can let your breathing come back to normal. See if you can close the eyes if you're comfortable with that. If it's really bright where you are, you might even put a little blanket or towel over your face so that you can kind of come down into that darkness, that stillness. And see if you can just give your body a scan and notice any place that's still holding on. Notice any place that still feels like it has to hold you up. See if this final posture could be a place of total surrender to the support of the planet below you. Kind of just melting into the floor, become part of the horizon here. And you can even let go of any breath control or breath practicing that you've been doing and just let your breathing come back to normal. Let all the parts of your body that have worked in new ways or ways you just haven't moved them in a while, let them come to a place of stillness and rest. And to seal off this final posture, we'll take a breath here together. For those at home, you're welcome to stay here as long as you have, as long as you like. This will always be some of the most rewarding things we can do for body is just resting in stillness. So exhale, empty, empty, empty. Take a deep, full inhale where it's needed. Exhale, open the mouth. And again, for those that are going to stay in Shavasana, feel free to turn off your stuff and shut me up. For those that are finished, I thank you for watching. Thank you for Sue and Joan for practicing with us today. Feel free to share and leave comments, questions in the comments, or feedback or requests, or write me an email. It's all open. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Okay, I'm stopping my video.